You already knew you didn't want to, but you said yes anyway. No one forced you. No one pressured you. Nothing dramatic happened. It was just that moment where saying no would have changed the atmosphere. Maybe it would have felt awkward. Maybe they would have looked disappointed. Maybe you would have had to sit there, feeling like the difficult one. So you adjusted. It's fine. I'll manage. It's not even a big deal. And in the moment, it works. Things stay smooth. No tension. No friction. No one feels uncomfortable. At least not them. But later, you feel it. Not always immediately. Sometimes it shows up a few hours later. Sometimes that evening. Sometimes when you finally get a quiet second to yourself. And then it's there. That quiet frustration. That heaviness you cannot quite explain. That sense that, once again, you stepped out of your own life to make room for everyone else. There's someone, let's call her Nina. She's the one people rely on. The one who is dependable. The one who can usually be counted on. At work, she takes on extra tasks. Not because she has time, not because she really wants to, but because she does not want to seem difficult. She sees the request come in. She feels that small drop in her stomach. She already knows her plate is full. But instead of saying that, she hears herself type, "No problem, I can do it." With friends, she shows up even when she is exhausted. Not because she feels energized, not because she actually has the capacity, but because she does not want anyone to feel let down. With family, she makes space, takes the call, handles the emotional weight, keeps listening, even when she has nothing left. And the difficult part is, from the outside, this can look like kindness. It can look like generosity, maturity, strength. And sometimes it is. But when it keeps happening at your own expense, it becomes something else. It becomes self-abandonment. And that is why this pattern is so hard to catch. Because it often hides inside behaviors that look good. Being helpful. Being flexible. Being easy to deal with. But underneath all of that, there is usually something quieter driving it. The need to avoid discomfort. The discomfort of saying no. The discomfort of being misunderstood. The discomfort of someone being disappointed with you. The discomfort of not being seen as good. So instead, you carry it. You take the weight, so they do not have to feel the awkwardness. You absorb the inconvenience. You take on the extra pressure. You move yourself out of the center. And over time, this stops being something you do sometimes. It becomes how you live. You stop checking what you actually need. Because your attention is always moving outward first. How will this affect them? How will this sound? Will they be upset? Will this make me look selfish? So even when you are physically present, something in you is missing. You're there, but not fully there. Agreeing, but not aligned. Showing up, but slightly disconnected from yourself. You might know this feeling. You say yes, and immediately feel your energy drop. You commit to something, and quietly resent it later. You keep the peace in the moment, but lose your peace afterwards. And this is where the deeper truth starts to show itself. This is not just kindness. This is not just being supportive. This is not just being that kind of person. This is often fear wearing the clothes of kindness. Fear of friction. Fear of disapproval. Fear of not being needed. Fear of feeling like the bad one. And once you see that clearly, everything starts to make more sense. Why it feels so hard to put yourself first. Why simple boundaries feel emotionally loaded. Why choosing yourself can feel bigger than it looks. Because it is not just a decision. It is a willingness to let someone else feel something you have spent years trying to prevent. And that can feel deeply uncomfortable at first. Not because it is wrong, but because it is new. So the shift here is not dramatic. It is small, quiet, but powerful. The next time that moment appears, right before you say yes, pause. Not to force yourself to say no, just to notice what is happening. Ask yourself, what am I trying to prevent right now? Is it disappointment? Awkwardness? Disapproval? Feeling selfish? And then ask one more question. What would be true for me here? That question matters because it brings you back into the room, back into the decision, back into your own life. You do not have to become hard. You do not have to become cold. You do not have to stop caring. You just have to stop disappearing. Because your life does not improve by becoming easier for everyone else. It improves when you start showing up in it too. And if that feels unfamiliar, that does not mean it is wrong. It may simply mean you are finally learning what it feels like to include yourself